Hey guys, my ramble for today is all about AAA. Yes, AAA. What, to me, what used to be the quintessential name in roadside assistance. In fact, a couple of months ago, if you'd asked me to name a roadside assistance company other than AAA, I wouldn't have been able to. I've been a AAA member for 14 years, a member a loyal member since 2009, and I've enjoyed AAA membership over the years. It's given me peace of mind. I've used their services from time to time. We've all broken down on the side of the road every now and then, and so yeah, they've been the quintessential name in roadside assistance, at least for people maybe my age. I remember my grandparents having AAA back in the day, or at least I think they did. This would have been back in the, let's just say 80s, when I was a kid. And I remember people used to have stickers like these on their cars. Now, do they even send stickers out anymore? I had a few of these in my membership file, in my AAA file, and this is what I did with the stickers. I used them to label the file folder, but this is this is all my renewal notices and things, because that's, yeah, I'm that kind of person. I keep a file on things. But do they even send these stickers out? I have not seen a sticker like this on a car in forever. I can't tell you the last time I saw a sticker, but they used to do that. I still had mine in my little folder. And they used to be, like I said, the quintessential name. My grandparents had AAA. And are they what they were? I don't think so. I will tell you that, like I said, I've been a member since 2009, so 14 years. And for most of those years, I've been at least for half of those years, I've been a Premier member. So since 2015 or 2016, I was a Premier member, and I've used their services from time to time. I've had one car that had to be towed several times in its life. But for this last membership cycle, and my cycle goes from September 1st to September 1st. So I was set to renew in a couple of weeks here, September 1st. So for this last membership cycle, we'll say 2023, I have not used any services at all. None whatsoever. And you can see that. I have a picture of the website here, basically showing I've used no services, and I was allowed 4. The previous year in 2022, I did use one service. That was last June of 2022. I did call with Roadside to confirm that they only had one service counted, because it took multiple phone calls that time to actually get service out here where I live. My vehicle was in my driveway, it wouldn't start, needed to be towed to a repair shop, and it took multiple phone calls to do that. So I was afraid that they had listed all those phone calls as separate services, but they didn't. I confirmed I used one service. It was one tow last year, even though it took multiple calls to get that tow. The year before that, in 2021, I can't recall any services used. I don't have a record of any repairs or services needed. And so for the last 3 years, I've used one service in the last 3 years. And so that's why I was very surprised. I was very surprised to get this letter in the mail from AAA, and it is basically them telling me that they're canceling my membership. Now, they say the Auto Club Group is committed to delivering quality roadside assistance to all of our members in their time of need. To maintain our high standard of service, we regularly review memberships and examine the types and frequency of the road service requests we receive. Upon reviewing your membership, we have elected to non-renew your AAA membership at the end of your current membership term because of a disproportionate use of services. Disproportionate use of services. I just said I've used them one time in the last 3 membership cycles. It goes on to say, details regarding service limits can be found in your AAA member handbook at AAA.com. So how does that make you feel, right? They've told me I've used a disproportionate amount of services and directed me to go look at the service limits. That makes it sound like I've used way too many services and that I'm over my limit, or over whatever limits they have. And I'm telling you, I've not. So this really does blame the member for getting canceled. And of course, they've termed it as they're not renewing me. I'm gonna say they've canceled me. I mean, that's pretty much the same thing, right? Why do they do this? I was set up to auto renew. And even when I had problems last year with my service call, taking multiple calls to actually get a provider out here to tow my vehicle, I wasn't upset about it. I understood that I was not stranded. They had other callers ahead of me. I had time to wait. It didn't upset me. Maybe it should have. But I renewed last year, auto renewal, and I was set to auto renew this year. Did anybody else get notices like this? I'm sure they did. So when I posted this, I kind of posted this on my Facebook page, and I'm like, AAA just canceled me. Why did they do that? Half of the comments I received from friends and family members, basically said, oh, that sounds like a mistake. You've not used their services that much. Just give them a call and sort it out. And so I did, because they even say at the end of this letter, it says, if you have any questions concerning your non-renewal, please call 844-222-4198. So I gave them a call and asked them to explain how I've used a disproportionate amount of services, considering that I haven't used many services in the last several years. I've never went over any limits. Some years I didn't use any. And so I called them and asked them. They will not answer that question. They just kind of gloss over that. They give you a kind of a canned scripted response that basically says, they say, well, once your account has been flagged for non-renewal, it is final and there is no appeal. Okay, I heard that verbatim for a couple of times I've called them. So we're going to call them again just to see if they'll say the same thing this time. Okay, so hang on and we're going to give them a call.
Thank you for choosing AAA. Your call may be recorded for quality monitoring purposes. Please hold for the next available representative.
Thank you for choosing AAA. My name is Marco. How may I help you?
Hi, my name is Tracy, and I was wondering, I just recently received a letter saying that my membership is not going to be renewed. And can you explain why that is?
Yes, we can take a look at your membership and see what's going on. Can I have your membership number?
Yes, it's
Alrighty, thank you. And your name? Can you verify the address on the membership? Thank you. Alright, let me just take a quick review of your membership. Hold on a second. Okay, so yes, I do see it's been elected to be non-renewed. So all memberships come renewal time go through a review process. We do an overall review as to how the membership is being used. So there are many factors that we look at. One of the main factors that we do review is the road service history. We are looking at all of the road service calls that have been made. Each service call is carefully reviewed, and we're pretty much reviewing what it's been costing us to provide road service to you. Along with that, we're also reviewing what other services and benefits is our members using. So besides the road service, we encourage our members to use all of the services as much as possible. But most importantly, you might be buying another service from us, like you're buying our insurance, our auto, home, or life insurance. Maybe using banking services that we offer. Just another service where you might be purchasing another benefit and generating other revenue into our club. And then there's other factors that may or may not apply. Again, just an overall review how everything is being used, how things are being balanced out, and unfortunately, that is a decision we went with. I'm so sorry.
Okay, but the letter says I've used a disproportionate amount of services. So that makes it sound like I've used too many roadside services, and I've only used one in the past 3 years. So how is that disproportionate?
If you've used it, I mean, you haven't used it. You can't overuse it because we do control how many service calls you make. It looks like you have used it. You have used a little more than that in the past few years. Nothing too crazy. You haven't used it anything where it's excessive. Where you overuse it. Again, you're unable to go over the service calls. But it's just an overview of all those several calls that you made. It's a review of everything that since you've been with us since 2009. It's just a complete overall review. How everything is, again, how it is being used, how things are being balanced out, and I am sorry, and that's the decision we went with on the membership. It is a decision that is final, and unfortunately cannot be appealed, and I am sorry.
Okay, and so with the letter saying that I've used a disproportionate amount of services and actually directs me to look at the details regarding service limits, that sounds like I've used too many, but you're saying basically I've not used enough of your other services to make it worth keeping me as a member. Is that correct?
Correct. It's a combination of both, and not specifically just emergency road service. It's an overall use of all services available, yes. It's a combination of both.
Okay.
That leads us to this decision.
And there's no appeal for that, you said?
That's correct. And it's been fully reviewed and approved by upper management, where the decision is final and there's no appeal.
Okay. Well, the letter makes it sound like that I've used more services than I'm allowed, and that's not the case. I really think that should be reworded.
That is not necessarily the case. No.
Yeah, that should be reworded then. Well, thank you for the information. That's kind of what I assumed, and this has actually got me to look at reviews and rankings for AAA, and you kind of forced me to look elsewhere, and so I think you've probably done me a favor in canceling my membership, unfortunately, there. So thanks for your help.
You're welcome. I'm sorry. Have a good day.
Yep. Okay, so we just heard the phone call. I just made that phone call, and that representative actually gave me more information than the other representatives that I had spoken to, because each time I had called them, they basically did not tell me the real reason, and I think that's only part of the reason, but they would just say, the decision's final and there is no appeal, which he said that too. I just think that's funny. It's a scripted response, canned response. But when I first got this letter, and it does make it sound like it's my fault for using too many services, and what I just learned, what we just learned from that phone call, is it's not really that I've used too many services. In fact, he pointed out they won't let you. They have limits. And so it's not that we've used too many roadside, it's that we've used only roadside assistance. And I'm not, I don't have their other services. I don't have insurance through them or anything else. And I would guess a lot of members are like me. They use AAA for roadside assistance only because that's what That's really what I thought AAA was. I get the mailings telling me about insurance and other things like that. In fact, I think they send those out quite frequently, but I don't need their other services. I either have those things covered or I don't need them at all. And there was no point in me signing up for other services. And if you, why would you do that if you don't need their other services? They are a roadside assistance company. As far as I know, that's their main claim to fame there. And so, but that's interesting that it's not just that I've used roadside assistance, it's that I've not used anything else to make them money. Which, okay, if you're a roadside assistance member like I was, and you've only used roadside assistance, and they won't let you go over a limit, so you can't really use, you can't be in excess. He stated, they don't let you, pretty much don't let you do that. So yeah, be aware if you're using them for roadside and you've used them in the past. They may cancel you if you're not using their other services. When I first got this letter, my first phone call, of course, I thought it was a mistake, and my first instinct was I would like to retain my membership with AAA. And that was the reason I called them up the first time, heard that it's final, there's no appeal, and I wrote them a letter because I didn't think it was fair. And I wrote them a letter, I sent that off. I got my non-renewal letter June 13th, and I sent them a letter June 28th. And it took them about a month to give me a call back. I really didn't expect a call back from them, but August 3rd, they did call me back. And the lady on that phone call, another just service representative, basically spent the phone call reading the fine print of their membership services agreement, telling me that they have the right to cancel memberships or not renew memberships and blah, blah, blah. And I told her, I said, you're just reading me the fine print. I said, why, explain disproportionate use of services. And she wouldn't do that or couldn't do that. She really didn't provide me any information at all. And when I told her, I said, well, I think there's other reasons involved. One, when I had a service call last year, you really couldn't provide good service. You may be lacking providers in my area. I said, I think that's probably more of the reason you're canceling members, and this letter telling us it's our fault is just to save face. She didn't really have a response for that. I did hear that she started typing, so she was typing something on my account, I guess. But that's a little telling there that I was surprised to get a call back. So they do respond, I guess, to your inquiries, but they're not very helpful. Now, this last guy he explained what they're doing, and it's just you're not using enough services with them. So if you're a roadside assistance only member like I was, you may want to be aware that if you need their service, that may flag your account for non-renewal if you actually use their roadside assistance services. Like I said, I've used one service in the last 3 years. I have used some previous to that, but nothing in excess, like he said on the phone, nothing excessive at all. So there's that. Hi, Erin. My name's Tracy. I'm trying to figure out how many roadside services that I've used over my membership lifetime. Can you help me with that?
Okay, yeah. For the current year or throughout your membership?
Throughout my membership. I can see the current year on the website here. I'm wondering overall because I've added up what I think I've used, but I'm wanting to verify that.
Okay, and may I ask your name? Okay, so since I just have services starting at 2014, you had 9 services. Did you want the dates or?
Yeah, if you could. So I've been a member since 2009, so I didn't need service until 2014. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not quite for certain, but I don't see services starting until 2014.
Okay.
So I don't know if maybe there was another member. Oh, you were a part of a different club, so you may have transferred in or moved to the Tennessee in 2014 or
no,
around that time.
Same address all that time. But if you could give me a breakdown by year, I would appreciate it, and kind of what they were.
I don't know the service that you. I will have to get you over to Roadside. The only thing I can tell you is the date. If you
Oh,
want that detailed, I will have to get you to Road Service.
well, that's okay. So, can you tell me like how many I had per year? I guess.
So in 2022, I see two services, but they were back to back. So one was June 21st, and then one was the 22nd. So I don't know if that will be considered as one.
Yeah, that was already you're showing two, but I've already confirmed with Roadside that that was one service call.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't have the details. We just show the number of calls, whether it was considered one or two.
Okay.
I see one in 2020, one in 2019, three in 2018, one in 2016, and one in 2014.
Okay. So let's see, 3 in 2018. I think that's what I was trying to figure out. So we just heard another fairly helpful customer service rep tell us how many services I had used. Now she had the one in 2022 last year marked as 2, but I've already confirmed that was 1. And other than that, over my 14-year membership, the only service call they're showing was in 2014. That's when I started with service calls. So for the first few years, I didn't use any services at all. And in from 2014 until now, I've used a total of 8 services. Now, one was a flat tire issue. That was 2014. One in 2018 where I had 3 calls. One of those was an out of gas call, and that was actually kind of related to the tow I had previously, because I had a fuel pump replaced, and that messed with my gas gauge. My gas gauge didn't work when I got the vehicle back. I didn't realize that until I ran out of gas. And so that there were 2 calls there that were pretty minor calls, out of gas and flat tire, and then that left 6 tows. And I've had one tow over 100 miles, 2 short tows like under 10 miles. One was probably 2 miles, and then the other 3. The one last year was right at 50 miles, and the other 2 were probably between 30 and 40 miles. Because I realized, I have a record of. I remember those calls. You kind of remember when your vehicle gets towed because there's usually a repair bill to go with it, and I have a record of all that. And so, but there you have it. There's 8 service calls over 14 years, and there's no way that can be viewed as excessive, even in 2018, and that's 5 years ago. I mean, if I was being excessive 5 years ago with 3 calls, and like I said, didn't even reach the 4 limit, if I was being, they should have canceled me then, right? But no, something is changing, and this is just the excuses they're using to cancel members at this point. So let's take a look at the AAA service that you may expect to receive as a roadside assistance member. Back in the day, the previous years that I've used their service, I was happy with them. I received timely service, friendly, timely service, and that's why, like I said, I've been a member for 14 years. I was set up for auto renewal, had no questions about it. Even after a not so great experience last year where I had to make multiple phone calls to get that service. But as I mentioned previously, I had posted, when they canceled me, I had posted this letter on my Facebook page, and the half the people said, "Hey, it sounds like a mistake." The other half of my friends and family that commented basically told me about how they waited for hours for their last service call, that they were not happy with services, that they didn't get service when needed. And ironically, after I posted this on my Facebook page and started talking more about AAA, after they canceled me, I started seeing AAA ads from their Facebook page. I started seeing their ads on my Facebook feed every day, it seems. And all the comments, of course, I looked at some of the comments, and a lot of the comments on their own ads are dissatisfied customers stating how they've had really poor service recently, waiting for hours, service providers not showing up. They've been stranded. They've had to get services themselves because they can't rely on AAA. There's a lot of feedback there. And AAA has responded, surprisingly, to everyone, but it's the same kind of canned response. Oh, we're sorry to hear about your experience. This is not what we expect. Please send us your membership number. We'll look into this, blah, blah, blah. But it's, you start talking about them after they've canceled you, and then you start seeing ad after ad after ad. And I did find it funny that they have a lot of dissatisfied customers, and a few commented that they had been canceled too. And of course, when I commented about being not renewed, they responded to my comment and said, "Oh, we know you're frustrated. We consider many factors, including the cost to provide services." And I think that's what it is. It's a cost factor, and that's fine. But don't blame the member, because it's not a requirement that you use their other services to be a roadside assistance member that I know of. Maybe it is now. Maybe they'll make that a requirement. But it has not been a requirement that you use other services. And they spend a whole lot of money mailing stuff out to try to get you to sign up for other services. In fact, I think, because I was surprised to just get something in the mail the other day. Let me see, this is my bin where I put everything that goes to the shredder. Oh, yep, here it is. So yeah, let's go over some of those mailings that they get. And so just to show you, I was able to find two of these mailings, same thing, in my recycle bin. And these are, I think, a month apart, and they may not be that current. I think they were kind of at the bottom of the recycle bin. But yeah, just to show you, I got these mailings all the time. There are a ton of address labels from AAA in my recycle bin. And so this is something they mail out quite often. And what gets me is, it's junk mail. Let's call it what it is. This is junk mail. And, it's junk mail that you kind of need to shred, because they have a application with your name and address, membership number, all of that stuff already filled out. And let's look at the envelope here. There's nothing on the back of this envelope. This is a big, kind of oversized envelope that you get in the mail. It says signature requested on the documents. But what's not on here? What's not on there? There is no AAA. There's no AAA logo. If you don't have their address memorized, or wherever this is coming from, you don't know that this is AAA and what it is inside. And there's nothing telling you it's got all these things, and you can recognize it as junk mail if you get enough of these things. But it's basically junk mail. And why don't they put their name up here? Why don't they tell you that it's from AAA? Probably because they want to trick you into opening it. Otherwise, it's just junk mail, right? But it's their life insurance company. I don't recall the home and auto mailings. I think it's mainly these life insurance companies. But whatever it is, they don't put their name here. And if you're like me, you get quite a bit of junk mail like this that kind of tricks you into opening it. And, I know I kind of recognize it's junk mail. I still open it, so it goes into the shredder. And there was another letter I got from another company just last week. It was one of those little envelopes that you tear the sides off and you tear the top off. And it didn't say who it was from. I recognize it as junk mail, and it's from a satellite TV company. And whether they do that directly or indirectly on purpose, we know the company, and we know it's junk mail. But why do they do that? Why don't they put their logo on it? Why don't they tell you who it's from? It's because they're being a little deceptive. They want to trick you. And if a company is trying to trick you into opening their junk mail and they're not putting their return logo, if you can't tell that this has valuable AAA life insurance information on it from the outside, what good is it? Can you trust what's inside this envelope if it won't even tell you what's in it? If it won't tell you who it's from? I don't know. I will tell you, though, that a lot of companies do this, like the satellite TV company that sends you mailings without any info on them. A lot of companies do this. The worst deceptive marketing mailer I ever got was this thing right here. I'll show you a picture of it. That looks like a tax document, doesn't it? It looks like one of those envelopes that you get around tax time. And it came, if you look at the postmark, it's postmarked February 3rd, 2020. And it says tax documents enclosed. And it looks like a very similar envelope that you would get your W-2 in or whatnot at that time of year. Now, what was actually in that tax document envelope? It was this. Advertising from a local car dealership here. And I have pictures of this. This was in 2020, but I have pictures of this because I posted that to my Facebook page. And I'm like, what in the hell are they doing? Sending out junk mail that is labeled tax documents. And I even called out the company and messaged them, sent them a message with those pictures and said, what are you doing? Why are you sending mail out that looks like tax documents? And I got no response from them. So that's one of the worst I've seen. I mean, AAA is not that bad. This thing's not labeled tax documents anywhere on it. But we know it's junk mail. And they spend, I can't imagine how much money, how many trees are they killing first? And how much money are they spending to get this stuff printed and mailed out to members? And they're doing it in a way that is basically flooding our mailboxes with junk mail. And it would seem more appropriate that they would send emails out or smaller mailings, tell us who it's from, tell us about your other services, but they don't do that. And I think that's a red flag for this company now on how they're marketing to their members. Because unless you're weird, you don't like getting junk mail like this either. It just clogs up your mailbox. You don't know who it's from. You got a good idea. You know it's junk, but you probably open it anyway. Some of you probably just put it right into the shredder, or hopefully it's going into your recycle bin. But again, it's junk mail. So the other question is, do we need roadside assistance at all? And I would say it's becoming less relevant today. Back when, my grandparents had AAA and they're out on the road, they didn't have cell phones. They would have to, if they broke down, they had to make their way to a payphone. And then having, that number, that card in your wallet or in your glove box gave you someplace to call. Once you made it to a payphone or a business phone or wherever, it gave you a number to call, and then they took care of things from there. And I'm sure that was a lot more convenient than trying to find a phone book and find a service provider and figure out where you were. Remember, no cell phones, no smartphones back in the day. And so I can see roadside assistance being a lot more relevant back in their day. Now, with, we all have our smartphones. If we get broken down somewhere, we're going to be able to look up assistance in the area. And as long as you have, an emergency credit card or the funds to pay for that service, you're going to be fine. And, you can call a friend or family member on that smartphone. And hopefully, if you didn't have an emergency fund, you're going to have a friend that likes you well enough to help you out with that. And so is roadside even relevant today? And I would say it's not as it was. It's not as relevant as it used to be. And AAA has kind of forced me to look at that. With these, I've looked at other options. Some of them aren't a good fit. Some of them may be comparable to AAA, and I wouldn't mind having that peace of mind. But after, kind of weighing the pros and cons and looking at their reviews, I don't know. I may be better off getting roadside assistance if and when I need it, and just paying that at the time. So, one final thought on AAA and how they're canceling members. I think I've shown that, first of all, I've not used excessive service. This letter, it is all about roadside assistance, and it even says, we regularly review memberships and examine the types and frequency of the road service requests we receive. And then they go on to say disproportionate use of services, details regarding service limits. This letter, I mean, it's a Dear John letter, basically, that blames you. Most of them are like, no, it's not you, it's us. But no, this one blames the member for getting canceled. And I think I've done a pretty good job of showing you that if you've gotten one of these letters and you're like me and you've not been anywhere near your limits, they won't let you go over limits, you've not really used that much roadside. I mean, I had 8 calls in 14 years. So, yeah, decide for yourself if that's excessive. And you may want to call them up and see just how many service calls you've had in your membership cycle, because you may be getting one of those letters anytime soon. And I think AAA could have been a lot better about this. Like I said, this makes it all my fault for getting canceled, and that is not the case. And I think if AAA had been more open, more transparent on why they're not renewing my membership, I probably wouldn't have. I would have still had to go look for other services, but I wouldn't have been as curious as to why they're doing this, because I knew from the start I didn't use them excessively. And all AAA had to say was something to the effect of, like, they've reviewed members' entire membership history, and they have decided to start prioritizing roadside services only for those members that are utilizing their other services. And if they had said that, I don't think we'd be as upset with, oh, if you use them, they're going to cancel you. No, it'd be, well, I don't use their other services, so they're just not renewing me. So, yeah. But I think, when we look at, they've been kind of not upfront about why they're canceling members. I still don't think they have good service coverage in my area, as last year I needed multiple calls to get that service call taken care of, and friends and family have commented, similar area, that they are not getting the service out here in the area we live, not getting the service that they expected. And so I do think that's part of the issue too, is that they're obviously their services have declined over the years. Back I used them in 2020, and that was fine. I had, in fact, that service call was a really short tow. I was, stranded. My car died in at a stoplight, at a red light, and so you've got traffic moving around you. You're blocking traffic. They were able to get someone out there and get me out of the middle of the road and 2 miles to the repair shop. And that, that was great. Last year it took multiple phone calls just to get a tow truck out here. And so I think their service has declined. I think they're lacking service providers in certain areas. I see less AAA logos on tow trucks than I used to. It used to be kind of that badge of honor that, oh, we work with AAA. And I don't think it is anymore. You'd have to ask your providers, I guess. But I don't see as many. I don't notice as many. And I have been looking in the last few months since they've sent me my cancellation letter. I've been looking, and I don't see service providers with that. And when I called service providers last year, because I ended up having to get that tow arranged through a service provider, several that I called that used to work with AAA no longer did, for one reason or another. And so I think there's multiple reasons they're canceling membership. One, they don't seem to have enough providers in my area. Their services have been declining for certain members, and as we heard on that one call, I do not utilize any of their other services, and so I guess they're weeding out members that don't use other services. So, but when they did this, they made me take a hard look at AAA and the mailings of the insurance they send out that are not, they're killing trees and sending out a lot of junk mail that they won't even put their name on until you open it. And so what I've learned over the years is when a company does stuff like this, when a company shows you who they are, believe them. Pay attention. This was just what I needed to go look at other services and look at. Maybe I don't need Roadside. Maybe it was nice to have that peace of mind. But looking at the reviews and the fact that I can get services myself, you may not need them. And so there's that. So you've got to make a decision based on the facts that you have. Hopefully, if you've gotten a letter like this and you thought you used too many services, you probably didn't. Give them a call and double check that. But yeah, I won't be renewing with AAA because they canceled me. I don't know who else I'll go for. But that has been my ramble for today, all about AAA. It's kind of a long ramble, but we went through a lot of things and made a couple of phone calls in the process. But yeah, that's my ramble for today. If you stayed with me this long, hit that like button. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I probably won't have another ramble about AAA, but you never know what's coming up on my channel here, on my YouTube channel. You never know what you're going to find. There's a video of a short cat with a theme song, and let me just say, I'm working on the other cat's theme song, and you don't want to miss that, because as soon as I learn how to rap it, literally rap the theme song, as soon as I learn how to rap, she's getting her own theme song too. So you don't want to miss that. Hit that subscribe button, guys.